Today is July 27th, 2016. Joining us on the porch, live from 4-H Camp Bristol Hills are camp staff Neutron, Twitch, Tantor, Irrawadi, and I'm Gadget.
Where friendships run deeper, come join us on the porch. So glad you're on the
porch. That's right, kids. You've made it quite a few weeks since your last live episode of On the Porch Radio Hour. And it's me, your favorite radio show host, Piper. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. I'll have you know that this is, to date, our largest audience ever. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And just so you know how epic that is, we're closing in on our 70th episode. Yeah. Yeah. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. So for those of you that are new to the radio show, which I think is only a few folks, and those are the folks that don't have a lot of technology because up here in the Bristol Mountains, we're pretty short on tech. So what happens is every week we have different guests that are local folks, local musicians, local business owners, local folks that are doing really cool things that we want to support on the porch. And so then when they're on the porch, I just tell a really awesome story about how they got here. But our camp staff, who are our guests this evening, you've known some of their stories already. So let me tell you real quick about how On the Porch got here. It's pretty fascinating. You're all familiar with Wizard of Oz? In that story, the Wicked Witch's sister, the Wicked Witch of the East, is kind of like teasing the Munchkins, right? She's like wants their lollipops or something, I don't know. But then this house comes like whirling in this like cyclone of chaos, right? It's like this big tornado, and there she is standing in the middle of this tornado, like trying to grasp at lollipops as they're spinning by, and she's like, oh man, lollipops, and then she's like, oh, there's my sister on her bike, and it's all like and then the things are spinning and it's crazy, and then the cow from the Twister movies like and it like flies by, and she sees like a shoe, and then finally like this house, boom, right on top of her, right? And it kind of smushes her, and then her you know in the movie, her toes, like, they do that weird curl, like a fruit roll-up, fruit by the foot thing, like, which is interesting. That's where that comes from. It was actually fruit by the witch's foot. That's how they got that. So what happened is there's stripy socks. They curl up, take the shoes, right? Take the ruby shoes, put them on the Dorothy's feet. She takes Toto, puts Toto in the basket. They ride around. And of course, Toto's the star of the show because by far, Toto is the cutest. Where I'm going with this is that when the house plopped on top of the sister, the porch of the house came off. I was a little kid at this point when this is all going down. Like, so this is like during the black and white part of the movie, I think. And I had ordered, when I was a kid, we used to get cereal boxes, and you would get all the points from the back of the cereal boxes, and then you could mail them in with like the postage, right? So you'd mail in with like 37 cents and a stick of half chewed gum, and sometimes a paper clip if it was a really cool thing that you wanted. Right, and so you send out and you get things like Matchbox cars or like a box of Cracker Jacks or those little temporary tattoos that look like Bozo the Clown. So this is happening, and there's a big truck that's sitting in Munchkin Land because I had ordered off my cereal box. I could order a Munchkin. It's like having your own house elf, but you have a Munchkin, and it just sits in your bushes. And so you've seen them. They have the little red hat, or sometimes they're holding a lantern. Yeah, well, I ordered one of those. I wanted my own. And so there was a truck there to pick up my order of Munchkins. It's okay because they were shipped, we were Munchkin friendly at the time. They were pasture raised, and it was all good. It was, fair trade Munchkin stuff. And we get the Munchkin, but what happened is when the porch comes off the house, it lands on the back of the shipping truck. And so not only did they bring me my shipment of Munchkins that I could place strategically around my yard, like those pink flamingos that sometimes end up in nothing. Okay, so there's the Munchkins, but on this truck is a porch. So being the ingenuitive child that I was, I started a radio show. Yeah, so there was just this like random porch in my yard, and I thought I should do random things. So I used to have kids from around the I lived in the country, so there weren't a lot of kids to pick from, and they were usually the kids that like at age 8 were chewing tobacco or catching frogs, and they kept them in their overall pocket. And, yeah, that guy, you're that guy. Yeah. Welcome back to camp. That's what you just said. So there they were, and there I was, and here I am. And now we have a porch at the infirmary here at, I never told we have people that are listening. By the way, let me break this down for you real quick. This is actually a thing that happens, and so people will be listening to this show. So when you guys are cheering and clapping, you're going to be on the show. Like, the people are going to be listening, and your parents going to be like, oh my gosh, I can hear you clapping. That is your distinct clap. I hear that. This is so wonderful. You're on the radio. My child, yeah, there it is. There it is. My child's a star. My child's a star. I can hear him clapping. I'm taking him to Broadway. That's a professional clap right there. You kids are going miles. After Friday, though, you can't go miles yet. You got to stay here. Where was I? Oh, so we had little Billy with the frog in his overalls and my munchkins. And so here we are. And we're hosting the radio show at the infirmary. Oh, that's where I was going. So for people that are listening that are not here live, they need to know that we are where? Yeah, buddy. We are at 4-H Camp Bristol Hills in the most beautiful Bristol ever, with the scene of the mountains. We got the sunset happening. This is some gorgeous stuff. We got some beautiful faces out here on top of the hill in front of the pool. This is real nice. One of the things that we do here at 4-H Camp Bristol Hills is that we have tons of programs, and we do tons of really cool things. And what's really nice about what's happening tonight is that we have one of the main, or maybe not the main, dude here at camp that does a lot of stuff. So when you guys get your brochures in the mail, or when you're checking out stuff on the 4-H website, or you are trying to figure out what classes you're going to be taking for the summer, or if you come with your school group, sometimes we get school groups here. Have any of you ever been here with a school group when it's not summer camp? Yeah, all right, there's some hands. Well done. So we're doing a lot of cool things here, and the man behind all of that stuff is our one and only friend of 4-H Camp Bristol Hills and many other camps around, but his main camp is 4-H Camp Bristol Hills. So without further ado, friends, our man Neutron. Yeah, bring it. Neutron, welcome to the porch.
Thank you, Piper.
You bet, brother.
All right, we're good.
All right. So, Hooper, let's get down to the brass tacks, Neutron.
Since we're on the name drop thing,
yeah,
after all.
you scratch my back, I'll name drop you.
There you go.
All right. Where was I? Oh, so let's get to the brass tacks. When did you start working with summer camps?
Oh gosh, let's see. I was 15, so it would be in 1989. A long time ago.
All right. What were you doing at 15?
Well, I was working at a church camp, believe it or not, and my father was the pastor, and so they hired their own staff each week. And so I was an assistant counselor in a cabin at the age of 15, and I worked in the kitchen at 16.
And did you stay there after that, or what did you do? Did you keep working at that camp? Did you move on?
Yeah, no, after that camp, I worked there for a couple of years, and then after that, I went to a county-owned camp in Oswego County. I worked for a camp called Camp Hollis.
Okay.
I was there from 92 to 95. And then I took a year off and did a year of AmeriCorps in 98.
Wow. So you've been around camps for quite a while. And then you wait, hold on. So I have to make sure I know this right. So then you moved out of state for a while.
I did. I moved to Ohio for about 8 years.
Okay. And you weren't working at a camp there?
I wasn't. I was actually working at a nature center and a farm park.
Okay.
So I was still doing education, still talking to kids, but not in an overnight setting, and I kind of missed that.
When you were 15 and you started working at the camp, did you have this feeling like, oh, this is something I need to be doing? Did you grow into recreation in camps? How did that work?
It's interesting. I thought of it as a summer job. Of course, I think everybody that works in camp thinks of it as a summer job. Okay. And I was planning on following my brother's footsteps in the field of engineering. except that I didn't know anything about math or science, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
So, I did my first year of college and going to be an engineer. I was going to be an aeronautical engineer and design airplanes and space shuttles and all those cool things.
Dang.
And then I realized that I was really terrible at it and kind of figured that wasn't working for me. So did a lot of soul searching and said, what do I love to do? What am I good at doing? And I kind of figured camp was kind of a cool place to be. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Camp is a pretty awesome place to be. So I figured this is what I wanted to do. I just wasn't sure if you could actually make a living at it.
After Hollis, after your hiatus, what was the spark that got you back involved?
Yeah, I was working a job out in Ohio, and I loved the job, and I loved a lot of things about it. But there were certainly aspects that I missed and things that I wasn't loving about that job. A friend of mine called and said, "Hey, there's a 4-H camp that's hiring. Would you ever consider coming back to camp?" And I said, "Duh." Right?
Right.
I got the application and I applied and went through the interview process. I actually came out here to tour 4-H camp in February.
Oh, geez.
So I came out for my tour and there was no electricity, no heat, no nothing, just kind of walking around in snowshoes. I still fell in love with the place. So that's why I'm here. Most people don't see this place with snow on the ground. Things are a lot quieter out here when there's 2 feet or 3 feet of snow on the ground for sure.
Yeah, it was really neat. Now that you're here, right, and so the tour in the snow went okay, and you ended up being here, and now your role has kind of exponentially grown over your time here, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean, when I was first hired, I was hired basically to focus on the spring and the fall season to try to get rental groups out and do programs and try to bring school groups out to do ropes courses and nature walks and that sort of thing. And then my first year here, we had a really off year. We dropped a whole bunch of campers all at once, and we said, we're gonna refocus you. So they kind of brought me into working camp as we know camp, and things have kind of, over time, jobs change and responsibilities shift, and kind of rolled into what I am now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. What's really cool about camp, I think anyway, one of the really cool things about camp is that as you get older and as you're a staff member, it's a place where you can integrate things that you do in your personal life, things that you're passionate about, and add those pieces and be able to find ways to be able to do those things. And so it's really cool when you're up here and you're walking around and you're clearly doing work, but you still have your camera strapped to you and you're still taking pictures and you're still able to do that stuff in your work, right? Like so you can use your photos in the brochures. And it's really awesome.
Yeah, we shoot somewhere around 1,500 pictures every summer of all these kids and having a great time, and the staff are doing great things. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be able to tell the world about the great things that we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, there's this thing that I've started doing. It's kind of becoming a habit on the porch, and so it's kind of becoming like an on-the-porch thing. So at this point in the interview, this is where you give us the skinny. So
the skinny.
Yeah. So if people want to send their kids to camp, if they want to find out about employment opportunities, if they want to find out about rentals, having rental groups out here and finding, because we have things like music camp comes out and we have football teams that come out and we have people that are using the ropes course from several colleges in the area. Yep. How do they do that? How do they get a hold of camp? How do they contact?
Yeah. I think the easiest way to kind of get the general overall information about camp is our website at www.4-H Camp Bristol Hills. Nice and easy to remember. We also have .org, by the way, 4HCampBristolHills.org. We also have a Facebook page that has lots of information. We've got an Instagram page that kind of gives a quick snapshot of some of the things that we do, some of the things that are fun and exciting. We send out an e-newsletter, all that sort of stuff. So we're out there.
Awesome. I want to thank Neutron so much for being here. Let's give him a hand. It's really cool to have people like Neutron involved with camp. You're doing really great work, and it's great to be able to work with people like that. So thanks, Neutron.
You're listening to On the Porch Radio Hour. Now a message from our sponsor.
That's right. You here at 4-H Camp Bristol Hills have been able to experience many things. You've seen the red cups, the blue cups, the yellow cups. We've had yo-yos in the past. We've had headbands. We have these crazy bandana things that do all sorts of things, from turn into a sleeping bag, be a hat, and maybe even your pet monkey while you dance and get quarters from parents that come to pick up the day campers. But the one thing that allows you to carry all of that stuff around, in photograph form mostly, but the one thing that allows you to carry your memories and a quarter and maybe that half stick of chewed gum is the one thing that everybody here should be rushing to the camp store for tomorrow. Does anybody here know what I'm talking about? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Say it real loud. It's fanny packs. That's right. Yes, sir. Fanny packs, or as my friend Chomp Me likes to call them, fanny sacks. They're like Mary Poppins' purse. They're like Hermione Granger's bag of tricks. It doesn't matter how deep you reach into that fanny pack, ladies and gentlemen, you'll never find the bottom. But the one thing that you will find is fun. Possibly some pocket lint and... That's right, camper. A barrel of laughs. Think about the power. For those of you that enjoy professional wrestling, think about what it would be like to strap on the belt. Well, that comes here in multiple colors and fanny pack form. And think about how much better than that you are, because you can actually put stuff in your belt. Those wrestlers just have to carry around a big gold plate that they can't even eat off of. So the next time you want to strap on something perfect, something wonderful, something that carries love, like that piece of lint. The one thing that every person needs, just reach into the corners, those deep, dark corners. And once you've found your elbow stuck to the zipper, you still haven't gone deep enough, but once you find that lint there in the corner, bring it out. Smile, thank it for being there, and tape it to your favorite piece of notebook paper. Maybe the one that has an address on it. The address to your pen pals that you've met here at 4-H Camp Bristol Hills. So take your money, take your pride, take your friends, take your slushie and set it aside, ladies and gentlemen, when you find your way to the camp store tomorrow. Look Muppet straight in the eye and sneer, smile, snicker, wink. But use your eyebrows first and then wink. It's more effective that way. Hold out your hand, name your color, and say, Muppet, please, would you kindly please hand me a fanny pack? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And once that fanny pack has been handed over and you hear that final click, your whole world will change. Colors will be brighter. Food will smell better. Even camp food will smell better. It'll taste better. Life will be sweeter, ladies and gentlemen, with your 4-H Camp Bristol Hills fanny pack.
And now, here's Muppet with a camp skit.
If you are here in our live audience, go ahead and stand up, please. This is a repeating song. So do what I do. And say what I say. Hey, hey, bo diddly bop. I've got to get back to my block. With this pizza in my hand. I'm gonna be a pizza man. Pizza man. I wanna be a pizza man. Hey, hey, bo diddly bop. I've got to get back to my block. With these car keys in my hand. I'm gonna drive a Chevy van. Chevy van. Pizza man. I wanna be a pizza man. Hey, hey, bo diddly bop. I have got to get back to my block. With this basketball in my hand. I'm gonna be like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Chevy van. Pizza man. I wanna be a pizza man. Hey, hey, bo diddly bop. I have got to get back to my block. With these nunchucks in my hand. I'm gonna be like Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan. Michael Jordan. Chevy Van. Pizza Man. I wanna be a pizza man. Hey, hey, but diddly bop. I have got to get back to my block. With this slushy in my hand. I'm gonna be a camp store man. Camp store man. Jackie Chan. Michael Jordan. Chevy Van. Pizza Man. I wanna be a pizza man.
And now, all the way from Cornell University, here's Twitch.
So that's right. We have a really good friend who's new to camp this year. She's not new to camps, but she's new to 4-H Camp Bristol Hills. And one thing that I'm probably more excited to talk about than she is, because she's a very humble young woman. But she is on the Cornell gymnastics team. And so before we start, I want her to do triple backflip lunge pike dives off of the railing. I'm going to count her down. Twitch, you ready?
I think so.
All right. All right. This is huge. This is huge. With the Olympics coming up, I thought maybe we'd give you guys just a little taste of what brilliance can do.
Okay. I get really nervous for this one, but I'll do it for you guys.
All right. Should we count her off? All right. Do you want us to count from 5 or 3?
4.
All right. All right. Yeah. Are we ready?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, my God. Oh, my. That was incredible. That wasn't, whoa. That was awesome. Are you all right?
Yeah.
There was like this second where you were in the middle and you like paused. It was almost like the Matrix and you just like hung in the air. And I thought, oh no. And then sticks the landing. That was phenomenal.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
This is a good audience.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, okay, so now that we've started that way, what are you doing here at camp anyway?
So I'm here on an internship doing sort of a social psychology project. So essentially I'm aiding the youth workers or the counselors with professional development while also trying to help the campers have the best experience possible. So essentially what that means is I'm kind of walking around camp taking video footage of the different activities that I see, and then kind of discussing with the counselors what kind of relational dynamics or things that I see going on between the campers and those counselors to try to increase their awareness of what they're doing to lead to the best relationships possible between the faculty and the kids here.
Awesome. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting stuff. Have you guys been seeing Twitch walking around camp? Yeah, she's pretty cool. Do you guys get to chat with her much? No, some of you have and some of you haven't. It's because she's a busy girl. You know, she's been doing a lot of cool things. So when did you start working on this project?
I actually did a similar project with a pilot group, Primitive Pursuits, over in Ithaca over this past semester where I did a similar thing. So I've kind of been taking this video footage and working on this feedback process for a while.
Yeah. So when I think of like research, especially for college research, I envision people in like white coats in a lab, you know, with, like not this week's nurse beaker, but like the actual glass beakers and cylinders and stuff. Like, so how do we, what are you doing? Like when you take your video footage, like do you put on a lab coat and sit in front of?
Well, it's funny because it is a lot of times given the title of research, especially because my mentor, who's really great, unfortunately he's not here right now, is a research associate But really what I'm doing is leading interactive discussions with people about the footage that I get, because it's, I think, a lot more effective to lead people to understand aspects of a positive relationship based on information that I have, rather than me just critiquing what I see or, doing some kind of project to gauge how good or bad of a job they're doing. It's more about increasing awareness. So it is kind of interesting that a lot of times people have this vision of research, but what I'm doing here is a lot more just kind of interacting with the staff.
Right. What if you have a camper that you're talking to, or a camper that sees the work that you're doing, and they think, this is really cool, and I like working with people, and I want to be able to do something like this? What would you tell them? What kind of advice would you give them?
Oh man, that's a good question.
That's why I
mean, I think for me anyway, getting involved with this process has been really facilitated by the connections that I've made throughout my education process. And I think if you can meet the right people and connect with them, then any sort of project that you're interested in becomes much more feasible.
How long are you going to be working on this particular project?
So I'll be here at 4-H Bristol Hills for the remainder of the summer. So I think 3 more weeks we've got, or 2.5 now. And then I'm not sure exactly where the project will take me into the fall, but I don't know, kind of one step at a time, I guess.
Yeah, right? That's the way to do it, especially when you're at camp. Just enjoy your time here and do your thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And kind of figure it out. Once you're done with your project and you graduate from Cornell University, what are you going to do? Like, do you have plans, or is this another one of those I'm going to take it one step at a time?
Well, I think it's definitely a work in progress. At this point, I'm thinking about either a career in mental health, so maybe clinical psychology, or something more social work oriented. Something I've definitely gotten out of this experience is figuring out that interacting with people is definitely for me. Or maybe public policy, but I'm just kind of riding it out at this point.
Yeah, man, just living life.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you're here at camp this summer, and
Me
I think
too.
I think it's really cool, the stuff that you're doing and being able to interact with the campers. So thanks so much for being here and being on the porch.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Twitch.
Thanks, guys.
Twitch. An All-American in all of our books. Thanks, Twitch.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up right now is Tantor.
My name is Tantor, and I've been working at this camp for the past 3 years. At this camp, I like to do a lot of nature stuff. I lead a class called Outdoor Survival. It's really fun. So I'm a big fan of like animals and survival. What I'm about to do for you, it's a character that I made up. His name is Lion Deep Fry. He's kind of a caricature of Bear Grylls, but just like a lot dumber. Like, he doesn't know much about survival, but he's trying to teach people about survival. Without further ado, I introduce you to Lion Deep Fry. Hello, my name is Lion Deep Fry, and today we're gonna be surviving in the outback. Yeah, we in the land down under, Australia. As many people know, Australia is home to some of the most dangerous snakes in the world. And today, I'll be capturing a few of them just for fun. The first thing you need to know when capturing a deadly snake is you must first become the snake. So first I must lay down in the grass and hiss. Hiss. I have now successfully become the snake. I see it right over there. It's a snake. I'm gonna go poke it with a stick. Okay, I'm coming up right behind it. I got my stick. I am the snake. One bite from this deadly snake, and I'm gonna be paralyzed. Or maybe I'll just become the snake. So here I go. Wish me luck. I poke the snake. It's getting angry. It's really angry. It bit me on the ankle. Now time for the moment of truth. Do I die or do I become the snake? I'm the snake. I'm lying deep fry, and that's been my show today. Have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, campers of all ages, the moment you have been waiting for. Gina Holsopple, also known as Lasis.
Think of all that you've lived through. Think of where you have been. Think of all the mountains you've climbed, if you'll have to climb again. Think of how inspired I am to be your best friend. And the sun sets on the tree line, snow melts down the mountainside, and sitting by my best friend's side, staring at a smile, we talk about our dreams to come, wondering where they come from, holding off the next day's sun, hoping now will last. I know the seasons, they will always change. I know that nothing ever really stays the same. I know in this life there'll be rain, but I'll be here, and the sun sets on the tree line, snow melts down the mountainside, and I'm sitting by my best friend's side, staring at a smile. We talk about our dreams to come, wondering where they come from, holding off the next day's sun, hoping now will last. Dreams will come and dreams will go, like butterflies we know, crossing paths we will grow by taking time to dance. And the sun sets on the tree line, snow melts down the mountainside, and I'm sitting by my best friend's side, staring at his smile. We talk about our dreams to come, wondering where they come from, holding off the next day's sun. Sets on the tree line, snow melts down the mountainside, sitting by my best friend's side, staring at his smile. We talk about our dreams to come, wondering where they come from, holding off the next day's sun, hoping now will last, hoping now will last. Thanks. So I have a super special guest who's going to come up and play you a song. You know her as Irrawadi.
So as I was just saying, I don't really know how I'm supposed to follow that, but we're gonna do it. So this is Sylvester, my ukulele. Got him last year, very nice. Taught myself how to play him. He's really awesome. I'm gonna be playing and singing Lost Boy by Ruth B for you. There it is. There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon, and even sometimes he would go away too. Then one night as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying high. He came to me with the sweetest smile, told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. And ever since that day, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. pixie dust and told me to believe in him and believe in me. Together we will fly away in our cloud of green to your beautiful destiny. As he soared above the town that never loved me, I realized I finally had a family. Finally we reached Neverland, and finally my feet hit the sand. And ever since that day, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, Wendy, darling, even Captain Hook, you are my perfect storybook. Neverland, I love you so, you are now my home, sweet home forever, a lost boy at last. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, Wendy, darling, even Captain Hook, you are my perfect storybook. Neverland, I love you so, you are now my home, sweet home forever, a lost boy at last. And for always I will sing, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. Thank you.
So I have this song that I wrote after about a flower that I happened to name my daughter after. Some of you know it, I think. The trillium grows wild and free, right? And so I have a good friend who is 8, and she came up to me and she said, I know you write songs about flowers, and you may not know this, but I am named after a flower. Her name is Ramonda. She said, I am named after a flower. Would you write a song for me? I said, sure. It may take a while because you never know when a song is going to come. So I was researching this flower that she's named after. She's actually named after the scientific name of the flower. The flower is commonly known as the phoenix flower, and it's a flower that grows in the deserts of Serbia. And it was discovered by a scientist who was climbing around in the mountains and had a water bottle and accidentally spilled the water on a plant that was all shriveled up and dead. It looked dead. And within a few minutes, it had started sprouting a flower, like it had come back to life. And so they called it the phoenix flower. It's this incredible, incredible flower. So this is the song I wrote about that flower. Wish I was a little younger, not a care in the world, just a little fear of thunder, proud to be a girl. Then I met a little flower. Then I met a little flower. She's a flower in the desert, scorched by the sun, with dreams bigger than life, but her day will come. Just a little bit water to help her survive, just a little I'm standing in the ocean, ready to take that leap. I always stood on dry ground, now I'm ready for the deep. I always climbed mountains when they said, stay right here. I always played the brave one. Now I need a little inspiration. I need a little inspiration from that flower in the desert, scorched by the sun, with dreams bigger than life. Now her day has come. Just a little bit of water, help her survive. Just a little bit of water to keep her alive. Just a little bit of water is all that she needs. Just a little bit of water, water, water. Just a little bit of water to help her survive. Just a little bit of water to keep us alive. Just a little bit of water is all that we need. Just a little bit of water, water, water. Now I need a little inspiration. I need a little inspiration. I need a little inspiration. Thanks. All right, if you know this one, you can sing along. It's super fun to be here with you tonight. Hope you have a great rest of your week. A little star fell down just an hour before midnight. Closed my eyes as it went out, held my breath and took my swan dive, and the surface got deeper when the deeper came closer, and the sounds I heard were different than the noises that the most heard. So take this space and write me a love letter. Take my hands and tell me stories of the lands we traveled to. Take my eyes, I wanna see you. Take my mind, I wanna be with you for a moment, just a moment. A Sunday evening drive, falcon flies outside my window. A month too long inside, and just a word from you and we'll go to a distance that gets nearer when the nearer moves over. So take this space and write me a love letter. Take my hands and tell me stories of the lands we traveled to. Take my eyes, I wanna see you. Take my mind, I wanna be with you for a moment, just a moment. And I get so tired trying to hold these ends together, trying to keep this stride while I wait for clearer weather. So won't you take this space and write me a love letter? Take my hands and tell me stories of the lands we traveled to. Take my eyes, I wanna see you. Take my mind, I wanna be with for a moment, just a moment. You ready to sing? Here we go. Sound great. Thanks. A little star fell down just an hour before midnight.
It was June 24th in 2007 when a young man was walking through Tonkahogan in the early morning. He always liked to go down to the creek that fed into the river, and he would watch the sunrise. As he laid in the tall grass, the creek would flow through this field. And the people that owned the property never mowed the field, and so from the road or the bridge, if you looked out, you couldn't tell that there was a creek. It just looked like a big field with tall grass in it. But he would lay down in that field in the tall grass and slowly work his way through the grass to the creek. And he would slide down into the creek, and he'd leave his socks and his shoes on the side of the creek and the shore, take his shirt off, and he would just lay down in the bottom of the creek. And he'd let the water wash over him. And on this particular morning, he was climbing into this creek, and he could open his eyes, and he would watch the bubbles of air and little insects float over him. And he could always see the distorted sunrise through the water. And as he was watching the pinks and the oranges, he would come up for a breath and slowly let his head drop back down in. And pretty soon those pinks and oranges started to turn to a dark gray. He had heard that there was going to be a storm. Well, he thought he could beat it, and he thought that the sun would come up completely before the clouds covered it. But he was all right. And there he laid. And everything went really dark. And pretty soon, he could see the water hitting the top of the creek. The rain was driving. It was distorting everything. It made him think that maybe it looked like there were people running across the water. But then he realized they weren't running. There was actually people there, above him. And as he floated to the top of the creek, he realized that it was a lot farther from the bottom than he remembered it being when he laid down. And when he surfaced, he was surrounded by 60 kids. He swam to the edge of the pool and he climbed out of the ladder. He grabbed his towel and he walked out of the fence, made his way up that grassy hill. And when he stood at the top of the hill, there were those pinks and oranges that he had seen when he had laid down, but it wasn't a sunrise anymore, it was a sunset. Those kids made their way back up the same hill and started to find their way to their own villages, to their cabins. And he looked down, realized that he didn't have his socks and his shoes. kind of stumbled through the sharp stones in the driveway back to his own cabin. And he was thinking about that transition. He was thinking about the time that he had taken to walk through the field, to slide in down the side of the creek, and to come up into this new place. And he thought about the time that he had spent with his grandfather as a kid. His grandfather who never read him a book but told him stories after stories after stories. Sometimes he would tell him stories that he'd never heard, or sometimes he would reference stories that most kids knew. There was a story that his grandfather liked to reference a lot. It was Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass. And there was that story of this young girl who would go down the rabbit hole and into this whole new world. That's kind of how he was feeling. There weren't any giant rabbits with pocket watches running by or people at large tables having tea parties. But it felt like there could be. It was this magical place where you can lay down in one spot and wake up in another. Where you can sit under that tree where everybody learned what their name was, or sit at the campfire and watch animals dance in the flames and hear stories. Lay down in an uncomfortable bed and wake up in this universe where you're free. And when you brush your teeth in the morning, the mirror doesn't show you some gangly teenager with braces. It's something better. It's something bigger. When you spread your arms, they're wings, and you can see for miles. And the wind blows just right. So no matter where you're standing, you can smell what they're baking in the kitchen for dinner. No matter what it is, it always smells like chocolate. And that reminded him of the place he used to call home, where every day that it rained, you knew it was going to rain because you could smell the chocolate from the chocolate factory. And that chocolate factory has long since closed down, but there's still those little memories that scratch at the back of your mind. And then once you wake up in that magical place and they don't scratch anymore, they're there, and you watch them happen. And every once in a while, that same young man will find his way to the pool. And although he used to be able to just slide into that creek no matter how icy cold that water was, there's still that moment of apprehension where he tries to get into the pool and it's super difficult. And he plays it off like maybe it's because his back is really sensitive or he's just a baby. But it's not about the temperature of the water. It's about being apprehensive and not sure that if he goes back into that water, is he going to end up waking up in the bottom of that creek and having to leave that magical place? And if you find yourself away from that magical place for too long, does it go away? But then, when you lay on the bottom of the pool and you climb back out that same ladder, it's still there. Like when you step in a muddy spot way out in the middle of the corner of nowhere where nobody else walks, and you can go back weeks later after the sun's been out and it's dried and it hasn't rained and your footprint's still there, and you feel like you've done something, like you've created history. And so every time it's muddy, you go back down and you make another footprint. And you make your own timeline. And you can watch your own feet get bigger. It's like life in that magical place. You just watch it get bigger and bigger. And when you leave and go back to where you climb back out of that creek and you find your way back to that place you used to call home, that piece is still there, tucked gently somewhere. Maybe in the bottom of those shoes that you left by the side of the creek, or in the socks that you haven't changed for days because that's not what you do in that magical place. But no matter what, no matter where you lay your head at night, while you're there, and you think about that pool, you think about the hill, you think about the first thing that you want to do when you get up in the morning is look in that scratched and rusty peeling mirror that's got cobwebs all over it and you can barely see yourself, but you know through all of that dirt is something magical. And it's reflecting you back. And you can't wait for that moment to brush your teeth and to look at yourself deep in the eyes and find yourself everywhere you want to be. And as you think about that when you lay down at night, it's that song. Maybe not the song that they sing in that magical place, but the song from your home where you slid back into that creek from time to time. And you can hear the town singing your song, knowing that the next time you climb out that ladder, it'll be a little bit easier to get back in because you know you're not going to go back. And even though those people from your home aren't there, you sing along. This is my home. This is my only home. This is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. And should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Well, you've done it again, friends. You've made it to another exciting episode of On the Porch Radio Hour. Yeah, I'm your camp host, Piper. And I want to give a special thanks to all the CIT crew that was out here busting their butts, trying to put all this together. I want to thank all of them. So thanks for being here, CITs, and all your hard work. Well done. Well done. And let's not forget the man behind the curtain that helped you hear us all. Let's give a good hand for Muppet, the sound guy tonight. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Making it happen. I want to thank our special guests, Neutron and Irrawaddy and Twitch, for being guests on the show, and Tantor. And I think it was Leon Fry that he brought with him, too, so thanks for being here. I want to give a special thanks to Laces / Gina Holsapple for bringing some music back to camp for a little while. Thanks for being here. And I want to thank all the campers that sat here for a special recording and being our biggest, baddest, best audience ever. The campers of 4-H Camp Bristol Hills. Yeah, buddy. Well done. And until next time, peace to your journey.
On the Porch is a production of the Wooden Apple Farmstead, with our host and writer, camp staff member, Piper. Our musical director is Gina Holsapple. Our stage managers tonight are our CITs. Tonight's sound technician is Muppet. This week's show was recorded live from 4-H Camp Bristol Hills in Canandaigua, New York. Find more information about past shows, being on the porch, and much more online at ontheporch.weebly.com.